Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be showing you how to create a Facebook ad for your brand new Shopify store. So if you're a beginner then and you've recently completed your store and you're excited to get started with Facebook ads, then this is the video for you. Or perhaps you've been running ads for a couple of weeks and you've not quite seen the sales that you wanted. So you must be going wrong somewhere. So hopefully then this video will help you out as well. Now, before we jump into the video, I just want to very quickly mention that it doesn't matter how good your Facebook ads are. If you haven't got a professional Shopify store, then you're not going to see the sales that you probably hope for. So my advice to you then is to make sure you at least get some feedback on your store before you start running Facebook ads. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do this. Number one, I do run a free Facebook group. You're more than welcome to join that. Post your store link in there and get some feedback from other members. Or you can enter the giveaway I do on every single video. So every single video then I do give away a free one-to-one consultation call. And a lot of people then use that time to go through their store on a Skype call together. So if that is something you want a chance to win, it's dead easy to enter. All you simply have to do is subscribe to my YouTube channel, like this video, and leave a comment down below. It can be any comment you want. You just comment dropshipping, e-com, one-to-one, and that'll be enough then to secure your entry into that draw. And finally then, if you commented on my previous video, just make sure you stay tuned to the end of this one where the winner will be announced. And with that being said then guys, thanks again for tuning in. I hope you enjoy it, and let's get straight into it. So here we are then inside my ad manager, and these are going to be the two products that I'm going to be showing you how to run ads for. Purely because then these are two different style of products. Number one, this product here is going to be purely demographic based. I'll explain that later on in the video. And then the second product, is going to be this cat water fountain here. And the reason I want to show you this one then is because this one's going to be set up purely, the audience is going to be based on interests instead of demographics. So there's quite a nice little video. I didn't put this together myself. I simply took this straight off of the AliExpress product page, but it quite clearly and nicely demonstrates exactly what the product is. So that being said then, let's shut these down, jump into my ad manager account, and I can show you how to create this ad. So we'll start from the very beginning then, so you can see the process from start to finish. I'm just going to very quickly then change my ad manager account, and once this loads up then we can finally get started. So this is the very beginning screen then. Now before you jump into conversion ads, a lot of people have been questioning me about whether you need to build up the engagement on your social platforms or even on the actual post itself. So if you do want to do that, then there's a couple of ways you can go about it. The first thing you want to do is start with an engagement campaign, and then you can run two different styles side by side. So you can start with post engagement to build up the likes, shares, comments, etc. on the actual ad itself. So when people come across your ad, it looks like it's got enough social proof, it's got enough comments, etc. so people will trust it more. And then you can also build up the page likes of your actual Facebook page too, because believe it or not, there will be a lot of people that will actually check out your Facebook page just to make sure that you're legit and a proper business, because people are going to be skeptical about you as a new business. However, if your ultimate goal is to go for sales, then ultimately you want to be choosing the conversion objective. In terms of the campaign name then, I'm just going to simply name this exactly what the product is so we know what we're dealing with. And then in terms of these two here, I would leave them both as off for now. When compulsory campaign budget optimization comes into play, then all you simply need to do is set rules for each ad set to make sure that the budget is split evenly. So for example, if you wanted to test 10 different ad sets and made sure you spent $10 per ad set, you would set a campaign budget of $100 and then just set a rule to make sure that each ad set got $10 spent on it. Anyway, with that being said then, let's get into the bulk of creating our first ad. So in terms of the ad set name, I like to fill this in last because I don't always then have a plan of what I'm going to be choosing and selecting. Therefore, I like to go back at the end and actually name it depending on what I've targeted within the ad set, if that makes sense. Well, that will all come clear later on in the video. In terms of the actual optimization you want to go for, we're going to go for the purchase objective. If this isn't green on your store, then what I recommend is simply just running a test purchase on your store so you can go straight for purchases. Moving on then, we're going to ignore these are a bit more advanced, and we're just going to stick to the basics in this video. Trust me, what I show you in this video will be more than enough to go out there and make your first 6 figures on Facebook. Now, this is where things get interesting. So in terms of your custom audiences, In terms of your custom audiences then, if you've got a new ad account, you won't have any of these if you haven't already created them yet. And essentially, just in case you don't know what they are, you can create lists of people who have performed certain actions on your store or have been to certain pages, and then as it says there, you can then use those custom audiences to create lookalike audiences. I'm not going to go into too much detail purely because that topic is worthy of a video on its own. Moving on to the locations, age and gender. So the first product I want to go through then is the it's what to call it, like a toilet ladder for obviously new parents who are toilet training their children, and this is where the demographics essentially going to come into play, because it's going to be primarily a demographic targeted product, if that makes sense. So location, I'm going to stick to UK. Living in the UK, I like to start with the UK, and if a product proves worthy, then I start to expand into different countries. Age, I'm going to leave 18 to 65 plus, purely because the chances are most people know somebody with a young child. Therefore, if they see this product, they might think to buy it as a gift. Certainly my sister has a 2-year-old, and if I see anything that I think would help her or that she'd enjoy, then I'm always willing to buy it for her just to try and help her out, because obviously during times like that, then financially things can become very stressful. And then gender wise, I'm going to leave this as all genders for obvious reasons. You don't have to be just a male or just a female to buy this product. And then detailed targeting, this is where essentially we're going to determine the specific audience that we want to show our ad to, and this is where the demographics are going to come into play. So I'm simply going to hit browse demographics, and just purely from experience and playing around with this tool for over 3 years now, then I know for a fact that you can actually target parents with certain aged children. Now, a simple Google search prior to recording this video, I was able to find that most parents kind of toilet train their children between the ages of about 1 and about 3 or 4. So I'm going to select this one as well, and essentially what that's going to do now is show our ad to everybody who is on that pre-created list, so within Facebook's algorithm, who are suggested to be parents with toddlers or preschoolers between the ages of 1 and 2 and 3 and 5. Now, moving on to the next box, this checkbox here, I'm going to explain what it does, and it's up to you whether you want to use it or not. Personally, in the beginning, I don't recommend you do, purely because keep an eye on this potential reach. You can see it's 43 million. If I get rid of this checkbox, you can see it's gone down to 500,000 people. So what ticking this box does is it basically opens the door for Facebook to go out and show your ad to whoever they want to, if they believe that audience might convert. Now, that can be a good thing because it means you can get better results. But in the beginning, if you're new to Facebook ads, you want to know that what you're doing is working. And by selecting this box, you don't know whether it's your targeting or whether Facebook knowing who to show your ad to. You don't know what's working, but by leaving this unticked, Facebook is going to stay within the parameters you've selected. So if it doesn't work, you know it's because of something that you've done, and you'll very quickly learn what works and what doesn't. Moving on then, just to finish off this section, we'll go through the show more options. If I was advertising, so I advertise quite a lot throughout Europe, then I would select certain languages within this box. But since this is a new ad, I'm focusing on one country at a time. I only want the UK, therefore I'm just going to leave it as all languages within the UK. And connections, I'm just going to leave that as all people as well. So in terms of actual targeting within the ad set, then this is how I would go about doing something for that particular product that I showed you. What I'm going to do now is just go back, erase all of this, and just start the process again, but based on a primarily interest targeted product. The reason I'm not going to finish this off is purely because all of this will stay the same regardless of the type of products that you're advertising. So moving back to the beginning then, we'll get rid of all of these. We'll leave that ticked as standard, as default. And again, a lot of these will stay the same. The main thing that's going to change then is this detailed targeting section here. So if you're new to ads then, which you probably are if you're still watching the video by now, if you are, then thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. In terms of your age and gender, I always recommend leaving these as quite broad because you need to find out what works. Now, when you become more experienced, so for example, then I've been selling within the pet niche for quite a long time, I know for a fact that the typical age ranges that are most profitable for me are 45 plus, and it's females. But in the beginning, you want to test absolutely everything. You can break the data down once you've been running your ads for a while, and you'll soon be able to find out that same information yourself. Now, this product itself then is a cat water fountain, and obviously People who own cats are from all kinds of different demographics, and you can't necessarily target people who just own cats. So what you have to do is use interests to actually target those people. Now, what you have to keep in mind now then is that you're trying to target cat owners, because only cat owners are going to be interested in a cat product. So you have to try and think along the lines of where are cat owners spending their money, because if you can target people who are spending money within the cat niche, because if somebody's spending money within the cat niche, the chances are they own a cat and therefore they're going to be interested in your cat product. And this applies to any niche, by the way. You have to think along the same lines, the same principles still apply. So first things first then, what do cats do? They eat. So let's go straight to cat food. So if we just a simple Google search for cat foods, and we'll see what comes up. In fact, before we jump into this level of depth, I just want to quickly see if you can actually target cat foods as an interest, because as being involved in the dog niche for quite some while, I know for a fact you can target dog food. So maybe you can target cat food, which you can, which is handy. Now, if you guys do want to video specifically on how to find interests, I have already recorded and uploaded a video specifically on that topic. If you want to watch this video, then the link will be in the video description below. So we've got an interest here then. Make sure that when you're putting together your detailed targeting, you have this box unchecked so you can see what the overall potential reach is. And then if you choose to tick that box, then that's up to you. Now, what I want to do here, because 1.5 million people is quite a large audience for a new pixel, what you have to remember is that Facebook works on past data. If you have no past data, then it's not necessarily going to know who your ideal customer is. So you might end up spending quite a lot of money before your ads start to get any traction. So one technique or strategy I like to use is called flex targeting, which essentially means you just hit this button here, which narrows the audience. And what that does, as it says there, it's pretty self-explanatory, is that somebody has to be interested in cat food and whatever this interest is here for them to be included in the audience. To find that second interest then, one of the strategies I like to adopt is simply hitting this suggestions box and seeing what comes up. Just keep in the back of your mind, we're trying to pick interests here that are only relatable to people spending money. So the first thing that kind of stands out here is pet store. There's not going to be many people that are interested in pet stores unless they own a pet. So instead of put it in this box here, I want to flex it. So I'm going to put it in this box here and see what that does to our overall potential reach. So I've put that in then, it's taken our potential reach down to 460,000 people, which is perhaps a bit small, but I'm more than happy to let this ad run of that. What you've got to remember is that your potential reach is in direct correlation to what your budget is. If you have a high budget, then obviously you can target more people. So with that being said then guys, that is essentially in its fundamental state how you do the detailed targeting section of your Facebook ads. Like I said, if you want a more detailed video on this, I've already uploaded one. I believe it's like 20, maybe even 30 minutes long. It's really in depth. But if you want to go to that next level, then I recommend you check it out. The link will be in the description below. So moving on then just to the final kind of bits, we have the placements. Now this is quite an important part of your ad. And what I recommend doing is that you actually click edit placements and choose the placements yourself for your ad, purely because in past experience, my own experience certainly, that I find a lot of these platforms that yes, you can get quite a lot of impressions and quite a lot of clicks as well, but the actual quality of the traffic isn't always good. So the strategy that I like to adopt is be quite specific with these initial ads that go out, and then when you set up your retargeting ads, that is when you adopt a lot of these other platforms and placements to use. So my recommendation here would be to stick to the places where you're going to command the majority of the space on the actual page or device, whatever it is. So I'm going to get rid of audience network. That's third-party space on different websites. They work really well for retargeting ads. When somebody's been on your store once, they've shown that interest, and by using audience network, you can pretty much follow them all around the internet, no matter where they go. That's one of the beauties of social media marketing. I'm going to get rid of Messenger, and I'm going to tick that so it selects it, but then I'm only going to choose the actual news feed itself. So I'm going to get rid of marketplace, get rid of video feeds, get rid of the right column. Right column works really well for retargeting ads, by the way. And I'm going to get rid of Instagram Explore. We're going to get rid of all the stories, get rid of in-stream, get rid of in article, and then that leaves just the main ones. And as you can see, our potential reach hasn't changed. Sometimes when you play around with these, the potential reach may go down, it may go up. So it's just a matter of finding out where the majority of your audience is spending their time and focusing on that. So for example, if I was to get rid of Facebook newsfeed, perhaps it stayed at 430. Oh, so we've lost 30,000 people. So if we get rid of the Instagram newsfeed, you can see it's gone down quite significantly. So what that tells me, in fact, the majority of our audience potentially can be found on Instagram. So with that being said, then that is placements covered. Moving on to the interesting part, which is budget and schedule. So starting from the top down, then we have the optimization for ad delivery. I recommend you leave this as conversions is our ultimate goal here. In terms of the cost control, I would leave this blank for now until you've been running ads consistently within a niche for a particular product. Only then do I recommend using this cost control and using this additional bid strategies here as well, because what you need to establish first is a base cost, an average cost of what a purchase is going to cost you, and then you can come back into these more advanced bid strategies and actually get effective results. Unless you know what the average cost per purchase is going to cost you, then you can set yourself up to waste a lot of money, or in fact not spend your budget at all. If you set your, in theory this sounds really good, because you could come on here and say, I want my average cost per purchase to be £1, but in reality Facebook just won't spend your budget because they won't be able to achieve your purchases for that low amount. So what you have to do is run an auto bid to begin with, until you get consistent results, until you know what kind of cost per purchase you can achieve, and then only then should you come back and experiment with these advanced bid strategies. Moving on to the actual budget and schedule itself. So again, in the beginning, I recommend keeping things simple and just sticking to a daily budget. If you want me to cover anything else in this video that I haven't mentioned, by the way, feel free, leave a comment down below, and if it gets enough likes, enough votes up like this video topic did, then I will definitely do a video on that particular topic. Stick to daily budgets then, and what I like to do when I'm first starting out, especially with WC campaigns, is setting a budget, is focusing on say 1 to 5 ad sets instead of spreading that budget across say 20 or 30 different ad sets. And I like to let them run for at least 4 days as well. And the reason being for that then is because I read a study recently that suggested the results suggested that the average Facebook user uses Facebook once every 2 or 3 days. So just by going over the course of 4 days, then you're bound to make sure that you have an even spread of the types of people who would see your ad, if that makes sense. So to summarize then, in terms of the daily budget, it's completely up to you. The main thing here, in my opinion, is that you let it run for at least 4 days. WC campaigns and ad sets as well, Facebook state this themselves, they need time to optimize, and by letting them run for that additional 2 or 3 days, then you give them more time to optimize and essentially more of a chance to start delivering efficiently and bring you in some sales. With that being said, moving on to the final few options. Now, there's not going to be a lot of these I change, if at all any, especially the conversion window. So basically what that means is, if you're not sure on any of this, by the way, you've probably spotted these little eyes that give you an explanation. Some of them aren't clear, so I like to give my own explanation just to try and make them even more clear. And basically the conversion window is the window, so the time frame in which Facebook will use the data to determine who to show your ads to. So 7 days after clicking will mean that anybody who clicks on your ad in a 7-day period, Facebook will use all of those people to determine who to show your ads to in the future. Whereas if that was only 1 day, it would only be the previous past 24 hours. So by choosing 7 days, then essentially there's more people there, more data, and Facebook should be able to make a better decision and deliver your ads more efficiently. With all that being said then guys, that just about covers everything within the actual ad set level in terms of targeting, budget, placements, audience, etc. Just to quickly mention these notices here, I tend to ignore them just purely because I like to go in the direction that I want to go, and if it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out because of what I've chosen and selected. It's a lesson that I'll then learn and can take forward and hopefully improve how good I am at running Facebook ads. Anyway, with that being said then guys, I've been talking for about 20 minutes, so I think what I'm going to do is cut this video there, and if you guys want me to go over the actual ad section of this video in like a part 2, then make sure you request it. Leave a comment down below saying yes for part 2 or something along those lines. And again, if I get enough people asking for that, enough people liking somebody's comment that suggests that, then I will definitely revisit this topic and finish the video by going over the ad section of creating a Facebook ad. And with that being said then guys, let's get into announcing the winner of the one-to-one consultation from the previous video. I've got it already loaded up here, learning from $1 Million Dropshipping Stores. Go and check that video out. It's had some pretty decent feedback. We discovered some pretty interesting products too. But anyway, let's get into announcing the winner. So I'm just going to head over to this site here, put the URL in, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that, get the YouTube comments, 34 unique comments, which is absolutely awesome. So thank you very much. And the winner then of the previous video is that person there. So thank you very much for your comment. I really do appreciate it. Hit me up on Instagram. We can get that call arranged. And guys, if you just want to get straight down to business and actually book a call right away with me, you can do so. Just make sure you check out the links in the video description below. And that being said then guys, thanks again for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.